Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.
Hello, fine folks. This is Freedom Fighter, and welcome to Goldilocks Global Banking News. I am your host. I just got off the phone with Goldilocks going over the information for you today. Know this, that on January the 1st, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, for which our currency is under, January the 1st, the banking system is implementing a new guideline specific to our currencies. Before we get there and we get into that, Goldilocks is going to share some other very key important information that is actually going to connect to what's going to happen on January the 1st regarding the banking system for our currencies. Let's jump right into it. Goldilocks is stating that for the past 3 months, you heard Goldilocks talk about credit valuation adjustments. In layman's terms, credit valuation adjustments is just a fancy way of saying the revaluation of assets, the revaluation of everything. The banking system is still working on them through the different new tools and new policies you have heard Goldilocks speak about over the last several months. Each of the tweaks that are occurring within the new banking system will make it possible for us to eventually see new values or new rates placed on our currencies because of these new tweaks, ladies and gentlemen. We have more to go through before the end of the year, and these will create the paths we need to see in the world of currencies to make it possible for them to change in value. When you change the value you hold to be true, the paths you seek begin to seek you. Central banks are secretly buying Bitcoin, is what Goldilocks is sharing. Yeah, you've heard the stories about Bitcoin. I won't repeat all the many things that you've heard, but aren't you now seeing that what you've heard about Bitcoin isn't true? Do you think it's a coincidence that President Trump has adopted Bitcoin as a means of campaign financing and donations? Do you think it's a coincidence that Trump himself considered himself the Bitcoin president? Do you think the banking system is randomly buying gold, Goldilocks is sharing, and now randomly buying Bitcoin? At this point, after reading what Goldilocks is sharing today and the guidelines becoming effective on January the 1st, 2025, do you think all of this is a coincidence? Goldilocks is stating, take a good look at the information being put out today. If you want to play with the big boys and girls, you have to play in the sand with the big boys and girls. So now, we have our safe haven assets in place, gold, and we have our final guidelines that will help us through the stress points of our new banking system and its transition. Goldilocks is stating that when a tornado is coming your way in terms of the banking crisis, what do you do to find a safe place for shelter? What are the banks doing? Buying gold and Bitcoin? Have a plan, Goldilocks is stating. Buy safe haven as an asset such as gold and Bitcoin might be a valuable choice. Think about it. What are the banks doing? Pray that your new foundation, which is the digital banking system and the digital platforms, can withstand the headwinds coming our way. Does it sound familiar? January the 1st, 2025. And yes, the links will be in the description to provide all of the proof and the receipts of everything Goldilocks is sharing. January the 1st, 2025, there's a new rule going into effect by way of the Department of the Treasury, which the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency is under. There's a new guideline, a final guideline, which is a law going into effect. And this is it. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency has established standards for recovery planning by large national banks, federal savings associations, and federal branches with at least $100 billion in assets. Do you recall what happened on October the 1st? With the new guidelines for the Basel III guidelines that went into effect for large banks with at least $100 billion in assets? Are you noticing the pattern? What this standard includes that's going to happen on January the 1st from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency is follows. These banks must have a recovery plan that includes indicators of risk of severe stress to protect them in an event of a major crisis, credible options to restore financial strength in the event of a financial crisis, an asset or an assessment of how these options would affect the bank, and the assets they need in order to protect the bank. The bank's organizational and legal structure, procedures for escalating decision-making, management reports, communication procedures within the banking system. Just imagine if in an event of a crisis and you exchange your currency, and yes, you're exchanging in a large bank with over 100 billion, don't you expect there to be protection mechanisms in place? If not, what do you think might happen to your currency in the new banking system after you exchange? Banks are truly getting prepared for the new banking system. There's a plan review as well on January the 1st pertaining to this new mechanism, new rule going into effect. The bank's board or an appropriate committee must review and approve the plan annually and as needed to address significant changes. So this is an annual review that will continue. Plan testing. The bank must test its recovery plan to ensure it will be effective during severe stress. Risk consideration. The plan must also consider both the financial and non-financial risk and identify non-financial stress and triggers. Think of this as being contingency plans that are consistently tested within the new banking system in the event of a major financial crisis, so that our monies are protected in the new banking system. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency's final rule will be live and effective on January the 1st, 2025. There's a link in the description to the Federal Register, which of course is where the new rules and regulations become effective and recorded in law in the history books for everyone to see here in the new banking system. Folks, be prepared with your mind and your finances to understand and know that these changes that are going into effect are in preparation of the changes that are going into effect. Be well, be kind, be in unconditional love.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the number one source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.